Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the player ratings. Everton have been beaten 1-0 by Manchester City at Goodison Park. And let's be honest, we were robbed of an opportunity to get an equaliser in that game. If you watch my Gladys reaction, obviously it was handball. I knew it was handball, but obviously there was other factors involved about like offsides. But having looked at it again and having listened to what the VAR have said, we've been robbed. We've just been robbed for the second week in a row. We've been robbed. And what annoys me more than anything is last week's was a lot worse than today's. A lot worse. It was clear and ball last week. Absolutely clear. They're both clear and balls, but last week's was even more so. And yeah, last week there was nothing at all about it because it was Southampton versus Everton. Doesn't mean anything. But today, going for the them going for the title, it'll be talked about over and over and over and over again, especially with obviously Liverpool being involved and stuff. So it's just pathetic. The narrative is we've been robbed in both games, and yet they'll only talk about today's and not talk about last week's, because the Premier League's all about narratives, and that's where for me it's a farce. It's like as Baz always says, like the wrestling. It's about stories, about narratives. It's not about the value of the game. And we've been robbed today of a penalty, and that is scandalous. That decision is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen, ever seen. I'm in the Gladys seat. I can see from the Gladys seat it's a penalty. I can see it's a handball. It's a penalty, clear as day. The fact that he never went over and looked at that screen is an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And Chris Kavanagh, I think it was. It's honestly, it's just pure corruption. It's pure corruption. Pure corruption. Last week it was because they never had any cameras that were close enough. What are you talking about? And this week, we didn't get a good enough view. What are you talking about? It's VAR. It's supposed to have cameras everywhere. Scandalous. Absolutely scandalous. I just wanted to mention that first because I never got a chance to really see that properly when I was doing my video with the match. It's absolutely scandalous and it's corrupt as fuck. Absolutely corrupt as, and I'm not sitting here going, if Everton lose, just go down by a point, it's all because of today. It's not all about today. But when you play and you deserve to get something, those players deserve to get something today. They worked hard and they played. They deserve to get something. Absolutely deserve to get something today out of that game. And to be robbed of something was just a scandal, absolute scandal. So on an otherwise, listen, club really done us proud today in terms of the before the game. And you can't ask any more for them. But the game be overshadowed by a moment which should have been a penalty for us. So let's get into the player ratings. Jordan Pickford made some huge saves, made a great double save in the second half. I don't know the goal itself. It's just a weird goal because it didn't feel like it was going anywhere till it got the touch, and then Michael Keane never dealt with it, and then before you knew, Foden was around the back of him and put it into an empty net. So I don't know whether he could have done any more. But some of the saves he made were fantastic. His passing was brilliant. His short passing was brilliant. I've given him an 8 because I thought he was really, really good today in terms of his shots when we need him. Because second half we were under the cosh a little bit second half in terms of possession and stuff. So he kept us in it in really big moments. So I've given him an 8. Seamus Coleman worked really hard today. Got forward. A couple of times, listen, if I'm going to pick holes, he does the old trick where he runs back towards the goal. I absolutely hate that because he doesn't like being on his left foot and he runs back on his right foot. I absolutely hate that. But defensively, very, very tough for fullbacks against Manchester City because they double up on the fullbacks. Literally, they have 2 players on the fullbacks at all time to create that overlap over and over and over again. To create that. You see how many times they get the goal from the tap-in? And look at today. They've done it today. They've got the goal from the tap-in. They do it all the time. It's what they're amazing at. So very difficult for him and John Joe Kenny, but I've given Seamus Coleman a 7. And on the other side, John Joe Kenny did okay again today, back playing at Goodison Park. Had a good opportunity in the first half to score, actually. I think his first touch just sent him a little bit wide, and he ends up hitting the side net on his left foot, which is obviously isn't a strong foot. That's the problem with having a right footer playing left back. But I thought he did well again today. I've given him a 7. Again, playing fullback against Manchester City is a difficult ask. It really is really, really hard. So I've given them both 7s. Centre backs. Michael Keane was having a decent game till he made that mistake, and it's the mistake that's ended up costing us the game. And it probably always was either going to be a moment of magic or a mistake that was going to be what unlocked this game. And again, they've overloaded us on the full-backs to put a ball into the box. I'm not sure. I think is it Holgate who gets the touch, and then Michael Keane just does not react at all. He's so flat-footed. I mean, even if he'd just fallen on the floor, even if he'd just fallen on the floor at that point, he would have dealt with that. But he didn't, and Foden is alive to the situation behind him and gets a tap in. And it was just horrible. And I'm not going to go in too much on Michael Keane because I thought the whole back four worked really hard all game. And Manchester City just keep on knocking and knocking and knocking and knocking. And so I'm not going to go in on him. It was a mistake. It happens. It happens when you're under pressure. These things happen in games. So other than that, he had an all-right game. He had a decent game. But the mistake is huge. It's cost us the game, hasn't it? So I've given him a 6 because you can't really ignore the fact that he's that mistake has cost us the game essentially. So I've given him a 6. Mason Holgate. Again, I thought Mason Holgate was fine. I thought he was fine all game. I thought he dealt with pretty much everything. He didn't make too many mistakes. He didn't go around kicking the ball away. He didn't put us under pressure by doing stupid things, by playing stupid passes out, by overcommitting. He was quite solid today. So I've given him a 7 because again, you can't I can't really find fault. I don't think he did anything extraordinary. I think he did what he had to do. It was, we were saying in the second half when we were under the cosh a little bit, it was him and Michael Keane and the fullbacks were just having to defend, and they did it. They did it quite well. So I've given him a 7. Alan. I mean, we played the 3 midfield, and I thought we were so much better. I thought we were so much better with the 3 midfield, the three forward players as well. I thought Alan done really well. That was a nice mix of midfield. That's like the right mix. That for me, that's the midfield going forward. It's got a little bit of everything, and I think Alan enjoyed today. There's some lovely little moments, some little areas where he was stuck in between players, and some great footwork to get himself clear, and then a good pass. There was nothing silly for him. I think he got booked for absolutely nothing again. The referee was just shocking all day, and the VAR shocking. The bookings were just pathetic for our players. Absolutely pathetic. So I thought Alan had a really, really good game. Got round the pitch, got his foot in there, but also on the ball was really, really good. His passing, sometimes his passing can be really hit and miss, but I thought his passing today was really, really good. And I think that's the 3 going forward. I think for me that's the 3, and I think then we have 3 out and out forward, players who work hard for us then. So I've give Alan an 8 as well. The Corey, again, good game coming back. Sometimes I wanted a little bit more off him when he was going forward. There was a couple of moments I was thinking, go on, just hit that space. Now, I don't know whether he's thinking of the injury or whatever. There was a couple of moments I just wanted him to burst through with the ball when he was in space, and he sort of just held it up and played the safe ball, which is fine. But you want that little bit extra sometimes. So he had a good game. When he's come back from injuries previously, he's been a little bit rusty, but I didn't see that today. But that's because it's the 3. That's because they've got less ground to cover. I said this last week in Southampton. I thought we should have brought on Gomez last week, but took maybe Iwobi off and gone for a 3 and said to Alan, just don't go running in, just squeeze them in a 3. But we went to 2 and obviously we got beat. So Decore was a real positive today, and hopefully, he grows off that performance and gets back into the swing of things. So I've given him a 7.5. Donny van der Beek, again, excellent in possession, good in his closing down, his pressing, and he looks like a real player, doesn't he? He looks like a real player. And again, in a 3, it really helped get the best out of the 3 players. And for the first half, I thought we were going forward, we were excellent. Second half, I know it was a bit more rear guard, and we had to shut up shop a little bit. And I know he's gone off with an injury, hasn't he? But up to then, he'd done really well for me. Up to then, it was just the injury and obviously going off so early. So I've given him a 7.5 as well. And obviously we brought Dele Alli on for him. He's a slightly different kind of player. But he done well. But obviously he went off with the injury. Alex Iwobi worked hard. At times, there's little moments where he gets hold of the ball, and I don't know whether he knows what he's going to do next. And that's what is the most frustrating thing about Iwobi. There was a couple of times today when I thought he had the ball, and you're thinking, right, you've got an opportunity now, and it's sort of like he's making it up on the spot. And I that's the most frustrating thing about Iwobi, is that even when he's playing well, you feel like he's making it all up on the spot and doesn't quite know what he's going to do next. And it leads to him trying to be too clever or do something he doesn't need to do, really. But he worked really hard. But I don't think he created enough for me today. I think there needs to be just a little bit more. It's difficult when you play Manchester City, though. It really is, because they're such a good side, and they're such a good defensive side as well. I think people forget that. I think the problem for me with Iwobi is he gets the ball and he needs that second. He needs that little second to know what he's going to do next. And in that second, against a team like City, they close you down because they're so good at pressing. And I think against Leeds, he had that little extra moment, a little bit extra time to do what he wanted to do with the ball and find the passes. Where today he didn't quite have that because he just didn't have the time. He just didn't have the time because he's always just thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And he must be frustrating to play with because he seems like he's a very talented player. But because it's all off the cuff, it's a difficult one. So he worked really hard today, but I've given him a 7 because they all worked hard, so I've given him a 7. Anthony Gordon, really good game. I think he found it. I think he had some real moments today where against a lesser team or lesser defenders, he would have created something or scored himself. There was a couple of there was one in the first half and there was one in the second half in the Gladys Street which he I think he just put wide or I think he's gonna have listen, these are Champions League defenders. People love talking about Man City in the way that they play football, but they can defend. Absolutely, they can defend. These have got proper players who can defend. And I think today there was moments when he probably thought he had a couple of them, but then someone just steps in and closes the space off. And I think because he's not, I think obviously he's obviously better on one side than he is on the other. He doesn't always get his shots off with enough power or enough finesse. And that shows against a team like Manchester City. Don't get me wrong, I thought he had a great game. I thought I thought today that if Pep Guardiola was looking for a player to sign and he's seen him, he'd probably think, I could do big things with him. I could do big things with him today. I think he had a little bit more of a end product than Iwobi did. Because I think Gordon has a clear idea what he wants to do when he gets the ball. I think he has a clear idea what he wants to do. So there's a little bit more creativity than there was of Iwobi. So I've given him a 7.5. Gordon obviously came off as well. But again, he's getting better all the time, and if we keep playing the way we're playing at home, we'll pick up more results. Richarlison. See, I actually think today it worked better with those three than it might have with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think the temptation with Dom is to maybe go long if things are not working. Whereas I think today, and I don't think he works centre-backs as hard as Richarlison does for closing down and pressing. So Richarlison worked his arse off today. Should have got his reward with the penalty. Really just all the time putting them under pressure, working them, getting around the pitch. And as I said, that front three then become a proper... They all pressed and they all got across that front line. But then they all worked back as well. And again, it was him for the penalty. He got the... I think it came from him breaking through, tried to go around the goalkeeper, but... he had the shot against the goalkeeper, which I thought he probably should have tried to go round them. And that should have been the penalty. But he worked his bollocks off with Richarlison today, and as I said, I don't know whether Dom would have done that hard work for us, and it would have been more one up front then. I don't know. But I thought Richarlison was brilliant. I've given him an 8. I thought he was brilliant. There was one in the first half where I thought he probably should have done better and maybe should have scored. But I thought he was brilliant all game and how hard he worked. So I'll give him an 8. The subs, I'll be honest, I don't really think the subs really added anything. I think Dele Alli is not the same player as Van der Beek. He was all right, but he didn't really create anything. I mean, again, he worked hard, he kept the shape, but didn't really add anything. And we've got to start seeing him progress and start adding something if he comes on off the bench or whatever. So I've given him a 6. Gray didn't really. He never got. Well, there was a couple of times he picked up the ball, but he never really had the intent. And obviously he's come back from the injury, so I'll give him a 6 as well. And El Ghazi, I'll be honest, I didn't even realise El Ghazi was on the pitch most of the time, so I'll give him a 5 because I didn't even notice he was there. I'm going to get... if someone deserves 10 points, 10, it is definitely Ashley Cole for coming on at the end of the game and having a go with the referee, because someone needed to do that, and I'm glad it was him. I think he said something like, I saw it from 20 yards away, it was a penalty or something of that nature. So he deserves 10 out of 10. And Frank Lampard in the post-match, if you want to see that video, it's on our socials, on Twitter, saying the same. He said his daughter could see that was handball. But listen, ultimately, we've been beaten 1-0 by the champions on a goal that was because of a mistake, and we've been robbed. And all the talk will be about a penalty that we should have had and we never got. Simple as that. So, and as I said on my other video, very proud of the club. I thought they handled the thing beforehand, the situation in Ukraine brilliantly. Glad they didn't use the sirens, which I was told on social media. I was told on social media that I was, a lot of things for suggesting that Everton wouldn't use the sirens, but I thought today was handled really, really well. And it was nice to see, obviously people coming together. So, yeah, listen, if we play like that, and this is what Frank Lampard said after the game, didn't he? He said, if we play like that more, then we'll pick up more points. The manager did say, try not to look at the table in the next couple of weeks because it'll get worse before it gets better, because we obviously other teams play before we next play. And obviously Tottenham will be a tough game, but there you have it. It wasn't meant to be. We've been robbed of a penalty as far as I'm concerned. It's all a fix. It's all a farce. And we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. See if anyone brings it up. See if anyone decides that it's worth chatting about. I hope Everton do. I hope Everton make a load of noise about it 2 weeks in a row. Not just today, last week as well. Make sure that everyone sees what happened last week. And what happened today. And then on Thursday night, let's go out to Goodison Park and let's absolutely smash Bournemouth to absolute bits. Absolute bits. And get into the quarterfinals. I couldn't give them a go and smash them to bits on Thursday night. And then that sets us up for Monday against Spurs. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know let me know your player ratings. Make sure to check out my Gladys Street reaction video if you haven't already. There's some videos of the game and stuff as well, before and after. And make sure you check out Baz's videos as well. We'll be doing the final word live on Monday over on Patreon. I'm sure there'll be a lot said. And make sure to check out Baz's videos because he will be absolutely fuming. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching. See you later.